Welcome to transport of carbon dioxide. Now, as we have discussed in the previous class, transport of carbon dioxide occurs mainly in three forms, and out of the three forms, the first form is regarding as carbonic acid. Then about how many percent? 7% of CO2 is transported in this form. The second form is as a carb-amino hemoglobin. Then about how many percentage? 20 to 25% of CO2 is transported from the tissues towards the lungs. And third one, major one is bicarbonates. That is the major part, which is called as 70% of the carbon dioxide is transported in the form of bicarbonates. Okay. Now, how exactly it is transported? Now, suppose if we look at the first one as carbonic acid. Now, carbon dioxide combines with water in the plasma in presence of an enzyme carbonic anhydrase, and it forms into H2CO3. Okay, H2CO3, this is a carbonic acid. This is the carbonic acid. Then this association occurs in the tissues and the reverse dissociation occurs in the lungs with the help of the same enzyme called as a carbonic anhydrase. Remember this enzyme. This enzyme is most important. Name the enzyme that helps in formation of a carbonic acid. It is a carbonic anhydrase. Carbonic anhydrase is the enzyme that helps in formation of carbonic acid. This is in tissues. Then second one is as a carb-amino hemoglobin. Carbon dioxide will combine with the hemoglobin to form into HbCO2, which is called as this is the carb-amino hemoglobin. Okay, so carbon dioxide is also transported in the form of a carb-amino hemoglobin. Then, what is the percentage here as carbonic acid? 7%. This is 20 to 25%. Okay, according to NCERT, it is 23 to 25%. Okay, then apart from this, the third one is regarding the bicarbonates. So, what is the percentage of carbon dioxide that is transported in the form of bicarbonates? Now, in the form of bicarbonates, it is around 70%. Then, how exactly it is? Third one as a bicarbonates. What is the percentage? 70% of CO2 is transported. How exactly it occurs? Carbon dioxide will combine with the water in presence of an enzyme called as a carbonic anhydrase. Carbonic anhydrase. Then it forms into H2CO3, which is called as a carbonic acid. This carbonic acid, which is formed, is an unstable compound that readily dissociates into H plus and HCO3 minus ions. H2CO3 it dissociates to form into H plus and HCO3 minus ions. So HCO3 is nothing but it is a bicarbonate ions. Now this HCO3 will combine with the sodium and potassium ions. HCO3 combines with the sodium ions to form into NaSCO3. This is called as a sodium bicarbonate. And similarly, these bicarbonate ions will combine with the potassium ions to form into KCO3, which is called as a potassium bicarbonate. That means 70% of the carbon dioxide is transported in the form of sodium bicarbonate and potassium bicarbonate towards the lungs. This is how the transport of carbon dioxide occurs. Now the question comes, what is the amount of carbon dioxide that is transported from the tissues towards the lungs? Okay, we come across a statement that every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood carries 4 ml of carbon dioxide to the lungs. Okay, so 100 ml of blood will carry how much? 4 ml of CO2 to the lungs. Okay, which already we have discussed in the previous session also. Okay, so this is regarding the part of transport of carbon dioxide. Okay, now the question comes, what is the fate of H plus ions as H plus ions are produced? Okay, so let's see. Now almost in the tissues, when carbon dioxide is released, this carbon dioxide, it combines with the water. Now suppose if we take this as the surface of RBCs, now here we have the blood capillary. This is the surface of RBC. Okay, RBC has its own plasma membrane. Now here we have the tissues. These are the cells which forms into the tissues. Tissues will release carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide will enter into the RBCs. CO2, it combines with water to form into H2CO3, carbonic acid. This carbonic acid, as it is unstable, it dissociates into H plus and HCO3 minus ions. Now, the membrane of RBC is permeable for negatively charged ions, while it is impermeable for positively charged substances. Now, as a result, if this process occurs continuously in the RBCs, then H plus ionic concentration, hydrogen ion concentration increases in the RBC. It leads to acidic condition, and later on this acidic condition may lead to the bursting up of the RBCs, leading to death. As a result, this H plus which is released is buffered by hemoglobin. That means that it combines with HB to form into HHB. HHB is a hemoglobinic acid. Okay, so H plus ion combines with the HB of RBC to form into HHB, hemoglobinic acid. Now, as the surface of RBC is permeable for negatively charged ions, HCO3 minus ions will come out from the RBCs into the blood capillaries, into the plasma of blood capillary. Then, to maintain the ionic balance, the chloride ions which are present in the blood capillary will enter into the membrane of RBC to maintain the ionic balance. This process of shifting of bicarbonate ions from RBC into the blood capillaries and shifting of chloride ions into the RBCs, this is called as a chloride shift. This is called as a chloride shift. And this chloride shift was observed by a person called as a Hamburger, and hence it is also called as a Hamburger's phenomenon. This is also called as a Hamburger's phenomenon. Okay, remember, this is the most important question which will be asked in the NEET part only. Hamburger phenomenon is associated with which amongst the following ions? Remember, it is associated with the chloride ions, Cl minus ions. So this is what is termed as the chloride shift. and this chloride shift is also called as a Hamburger's phenomenon. And in this Hamburger's phenomenon, there is a maintenance of ionic balance in the RBCs as the chloride ions enter into the membrane of RBC and the bicarbonate ions will leave out of the membrane of RBCs. Okay, and hence we call this phenomenon as the chloride shift or the Hamburger's phenomenon associated with the transport of gases. Okay, then with this, with the chloride shift and the Hamburger phenomenon, okay, let's move on to the next part. Okay, now this is regarding the part of transport of gases, how exactly the carbon dioxide as well as the oxygen are transported. Okay, then with this, okay, so we'll come across the next one, which is called as a regulation of respiration. Now in the regulation of respiration, how exactly the respiration is carried out in the humans, how the transport of gases occurs in our body, and which is the major control center for this process of respiration or breathing also termed as ventilation. Okay, now for this we have a chart for this. Let's go to the chart and we'll discuss about this. Okay, the centers, where we call it as a respiratory centers, and we also call it as a pneumotaxic center, chemosensitive area. Based on that, there is a chart. Let's look at the chart and study. Okay, let's look at the chart of the regulation of respiration. So regulation of respiration, which is also called as regulation of breathing, how it is controlled. It is mainly controlled by the medulla oblongata as well as the pons of the brain. Then let's look at the centers. The first one is regarding the inspiration center. This inspiration center, its location is medulla oblongata, and its mainly function is inspiration, as inspiration is an active process where energy is also utilized. Okay, so it leads to active condition. The next respiratory center, located in the same part, medulla oblongata, then it leads to expiration, which is also called as an inactive condition. That means intake of air, it requires energy, and giving out air is just a passive process. Okay. Then apneustic center is located in pons varioli, or we also call it as only pons region. Its major function is slow and deep inspiration. Slow, and we take the breath very deeply. So slow and deep inspiration is by apneustic center, which is located in the pons varioli. Then pneumotaxic center. This pneumotaxic center is located in pons varioli again, and it controls other centers and produce normal quiet breathing. That means when we are sitting idly, we are breathing, we are not making any sound. Okay, so that's why it is a very quiet breathing, it is very silent breathing. It is mainly controlled by what? Pneumotaxic center, and this pneumotaxic center is located in pons region. So for quiet breathing, or we also call it as a normal breathing. The next one is a gasping center. Gasping center, they are located in the pons varioli only, and its major function is a sudden and shallow respiration. Sudden means suddenly we take in breath, and it will be very deep breath. So sudden and shallow respiration or breathing is by gasping center, which is located in pons. Then apart from this, we have chemosensitive centers also, which are located in medulla oblongata. These chemosensitive areas are sensitive to high concentration of CO2, high H plus also. Then apart from that, we have certain carotid arteries here which passes from the neck region, these carotid arteries are also sensitive for this, where they can give a signal for the respiratory centers to adjust the rate of breathing. That means carbon dioxide concentration and H plus concentration, if they increase in our blood, ultimately it will stimulate the medulla oblongata and the pons region, and it regulates the activity of breathing. It alters the rate of breathing. That means we take in air and we give out air normally, which is called as normal breathing process. If there is any alteration, any changes in the blood in the level of PCO2 level or H plus ions, ultimately there are chemosensitive centers which are located in medulla oblongata, and we have the carotid arteries also. These carotid arteries are also sensitive for these chemicals and H plus ion concentrations, and they will stimulate the respiratory rhythm center. The respiratory rhythm center is located in medulla region. It mainly regulates the rate of breathing, the function of breathing. Okay, so this is regarding the part of regulation of respiration. So here we have certain additional content also along with the textual part. Okay, and with this we have left with the last part, which is called as respiratory diseases or respiratory disorders. So let's look at the respiratory disorders, and we'll go to the question part of the topic along with a few definitions that come across in this chapter. Okay. Here we come across few definitions. One is apnea. This apnea is nothing but temporary cessation in breathing. Second one is dyspnea. It is painful difficulty or labored breathing. Then eupnea, it's normal breathing. Then hyperapnea, increased breathing for greater ventilation of the lungs required during physical exertion. Hypoxia, meaning insufficient supply of oxygen to the cells. Then hypocapnia, meaning decrease in blood carbon dioxide level below the normal. Along with that, artificial breathing, which is used in case of asphyxia. So artificial breathing means it is a manual or mechanical method of maintaining the respiration temporarily in individuals suffering with asphyxia until the normal rhythm. Asphyxia, it refers to a sudden lack of oxygen in the body due to cessation of respiration in case of certain patients like asthmatic patients. In the last part, we are going to study the disorders of the respiratory system. In the disorders, first we have the asthma. Now in case of asthma, it is a difficulty in breathing causing wheezing due to inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. Especially in case of asthma, it is mainly caused due to pollen grains or due to dust, mites, or even animal fur, even due by the feathers also. As a result, it leads to infection of the bronchioles, where it leads to formation of more mucus, and that mucus leads to blockage of the air passage, leading to suffocation, and it can be regained through certain antibiotics as well as through the aerosols by the oral sprays. The next one is regarding the emphysema. Emphysema is also a respiratory disorder. We also call it as lower respiratory disorder. So alveolar walls are damaged, due to which respiratory surface is decreased, and the major cause is smoking up of cigarettes. Now here alveolar walls gets damaged, it becomes hardened, it loses the elasticity. As a result, the lungs gets damaged. And the next cause of emphysema is the lung cancer, because 99.9% of the lung cancer is due to smoking of cigarettes. And the last one is occupational respiratory disorders. Occupational respiratory disorders are those which comes in the working places. And here we have two best classical examples like silicosis and asbestosis. Silicosis is due to breathing of silica. That means the silica sand industries, where there will be breaking up of the stones
This silica dust, if it enters into the respiratory system, it leads to damage of the respiratory system. Initially it leads to the infection of the upper respiratory tract. Later on it leads to the infection of the lower respiratory tract, mainly the lungs. And by this process the person will suffer with the respiratory disorders, and again there will be suffocation. More quantity of mucus is also secreted. As a result, the lungs gets damaged in due course, and if it is not controlled, it leads to death. Asbestosis is due to breathing in asbestos particles, and especially these asbestos particles, they are used in the wires. And suppose if the person is working in these asbestos industries, as this is used as an insulator for the wires, it may lead to damage of the lungs. The particles are highly dangerous. Okay, so this is regarding the occupational respiratory disorders connected to the human respiratory system, and here we'll end up the human respiratory system, breathing and exchange of gases. Thank you.